And perhaps as a way to sum this up, could you articulate what you think are the major attributes or characteristics that are either common characteristics for Black leaders or that you think are actually essential for all leadership?
Well, let me talk about all leadership. I think communication skills, and by that I don't mean being a highly polished speaker or the best writer in the world, but the ability to tell others what it is you expect of them, what your vision is. And you don't have to be the most polished person. Inarticulate people can do this. And I've seen inarticulate people do this. Mm-hmm. So it's not smoothness or sophistication I'm talking about here, but just the ability to get something across. This guy who taught me math, I mean, was inarticulate, but he taught me math, and I learned math. So that's one important thing. Well, first you have to have some vision, some idea. You have to have some notion of what it is you want done. Whether you're talking about education or economic, whatever it is, you have to have some idea of what you want done or what you think needs to be done, what the larger world needs to do, what your audience needs, you have to have some idea. Here's my plan, and you have to put it out there. And you have to be willing to have other people say, no, that's not right. Try this or that, or modify this in some way, or even abandon that and accept this. You have to be open to new ideas and to challenges to your ideas. And you have to be willing, I think, to look over the long term, the long term. I mean, years and years and years and years. While you hope to achieve little victories that make you have another one and so forth, and if you can get them, that's great. But you have to have a long vision of where things are going to be 10, 15, 20, 30 years from now.
Do you have to be tough?
Yes, you have to be tough. You have to be tough. You have to be able to take defeat and get up and do it again and try again.
And do you have to have the ability to somehow distinguish your private life from your public life? Is that something that is a learned skill, do you think, in terms of?
I think it's a learned skill. You have to do it. You can't always do it, but you have to try to do it because you have to have privacy of some kind. You can't live your life in public, under the public glare. And sometimes, because of what you do or what other people do, all of a sudden there you are. But you can't have that. You have to try to not have that if you can.
So are these different for Black leaders than white leaders?
I don't think so. I think Black Americans, and this is a generalization, are generally more forgiving of flaws in leadership figures than white Americans are. And this is a big generalization. So that when a leadership figure stumbles, the Black Americans are more willing to forgive and forget and move on. And we've seen this happen time and time again. And there are probably other differences as well.
But are white Americans much less forgiving of Black leaders, for example, than?
I think so.
Is it the same in reverse then?
And less understanding of the forgiveness. Now, some of it I think is religious and religiously based. This controversy in the Catholic Church, we're hearing about forgiveness as a tenet of Catholicism. So the priest who stumbles should be forgiven. We ought not have a ironclad policy, one mistake and you're out. And I think for non-Catholics, it's hard to understand. What do you mean? But for those who admire aspects of the Catholic faith, it's perfectly understandable. They do believe in forgiveness. It is possible for the sinner to be saved. And that's true, of Baptists and Methodists and all kinds of other people too. So there are things that are peculiar, I think, to African Americans that aren't understandable by white Americans and vice versa. Mm-hmm.